Luke, what is
You can
this?
shout
I can
the
ask
results into my
cheeseburger.
hearing.
Oh, I'm guessing that's the website. I can ask cheeseburger.
You ever seen that site? Have you ever seen
You should
It's a
go to the website.
Why is it on my agenda?
Because I was bored.
Next up is Cliff Lewis, who will be bringing us a presentation about the Murat Magazine. Lounge Lizard, it's all yours.
And gentlemen, with that, I must depart.
Now, first thing I gotta do is, it's not gonna be as funny as Ed or Chris. I'm not gonna put that much work into it, let's be honest, okay? The other thing is, he did not get my title right. You guys are so lucky tonight that you have in the room 2 of the original OFE Emeritus with you tonight. Of the 3 people that were the originals, and Sam and I don't even argue over who's 2 or 3, but we did give Edgar McGonigal, past potentate, 1, because he chartered you. Sam and I are the first 2, so pay attention. What I'm going to tell you about this, I was going to say tonight that the last one still awaits in my grade form. So keep that in mind. Very briefly, I want to just give you a little technical background on the magazine. We spend a lot of money, it costs a lot of money, we don't have a lot left over at the end of the year. Size, placement, well, that sounds familiar.
Sounds like a date. Are you talking about a date?
And I was going to leave it to the imagination. Naturally, the younger generation has to just jump in and tell it. Okay, size, placement, and whether it's color or not. The sheet I gave you is the normal rate sheet that we would hand out to a prospective advertiser, and I've passed out to a couple of clubs and units that I've spoken to about it. It just gives you the idea of what the various sizes of the ads can be, and then if you look for 3 months as opposed to 1 month, or 6 months as opposed to 3 months, you get a little bit of a break on the roof. Key placement, that magazine actually does. We do spend a lot of money, and we only have 2 paid employees. That's ladies named Terry Capron and Catherine Zaire, who, Terry is our setup person who actually puts it together, and if you submit an ad, like when Stick submitted his Saltaire ad, we had to work it up a little bit, and if we have to work it up or do some graphics or add some whatever to it, she is the person who does that. Then when it's done, we send it back to the advertiser for approval before we run it in the magazine. And then Katie is our proofreader. We just got the first set of proofs for this January magazine. She had 3 pages of corrections. And that brings me to, when you all come, you're all going to come to the leadership seminar in January, right? Right. Shake your heads, yes. And you're going, it's in the magazine, by the way. It was in this month's magazine. The 15th annual leadership is coming up. Talk with you and discuss with you what the magazine can do for Next Gen for improving its image to the rest of the nobility. And the reason that is important is because that's basically why the magazine exists, is to make Murat in general look good to those who take the time to read the magazine. That's why we try to have a decent cover photo. That's why we try to have decent articles. That's why we take the red pens freely, if need be, although fortunately we don't have to those articles that may contain negative comments. Anything that comes in from any correspondent, whether it be the potentate's unit or whatever, if they're negative, if they are negative comments, they get red penned out. Also, comments that might be considered a little bit off color, well, not a little bit, but a lot off color, because we have widows all across the country who read this magazine. And one picture of the election track. Technical aspect of the magazine. Because we have so many clubs and units, we try to keep it to 32 pages because you can't just add 1 or 2. You have to add 4. And to add 4, we probably need another couple $100 worth of, or $300 worth of $400 worth of advertising. We really need to put on 2 pages of advertising to add another 2 pages of text. Well, we can't just do that every whip stitch. So, we hold it to 500 words. And all of you, I'm sure, are Microsoft Word savvy, and you know that it tells you what 500 words, how many words you have in your article. 450, one picture, 400, two pictures, 350, three pictures, and I suppose if we backed it all the way down, conceivably you could have all pictures and no text, except you've got to put captions with them. And you know, you could have maybe a half dozen pictures and nothing but pictures and captions, I suppose, if you wanted. Pictures are a little small. Which brings me to another thing. Watch the type of pictures you take. Don't get from here to the American flag at the other end of the room and get 46 guys in there, take a 3 to 4 or 5 megapixel digital camera with a flash, which is probably going to bleed from here to there in the first place. And secondly, you got all these bodies stuffed in, and that picture, remember, it's only going to be about that big. You're not going to see their faces. Try to get, that's one idea. The other thing is anytime you do anything good, parades, obviously, and we've had parade pictures of the unit in there, but certainly a trip to Lexington, Cincinnati, or Chicago. Mr. Monkey over here takes his camera most everywhere he goes, don't you?
Now I do.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Obviously, the games. Anytime you make a contribution, of course, that's going to appear in the magazine under the contribution captions and photos. But anytime you do anything good, keep that in the back of your mind. And I'm not going to bore you with any more, but I did want you to just realize that the magazine can help you improve your image. We're going to have some opportunities in the next 3 years to do that, especially looking forward to 2013 when we will have the Imperial Session here in Indianapolis. What a place for Next Gen as a young Shriners organization to shine when our own John Sonato has his Imperial here in Indianapolis. What a place for you guys to shine. So be thinking of that and thinking about what you can do and, mercenary speaking, how you can improve your image, bolster, recruit new members through a positive, out there in front, doing great things image. Use the magazine. That's what it's there for. And obviously, I've got a reason to help. I help get you started. And I have 2 sons in it, so that's a good reason to do it, I guess. So,
Yes, because we have to help you with the magazine.
if you have any questions, just, now copy it. In coming events, every month, I do that. I scan forward in the potentate's calendar, take out the current month, put in a new month, but you will always see in black, all caps, magazine deadline for, in this case, let's say February, will be, I believe, January 3rd, I think. I think that's a Wednesday or something like that.
Basically, it's 30 days ahead.
Well, so what's the deadline for the next magazine? You say, why? I want to say why. You don't read the one you got. Because if you did, you'd look at the back page and you'd see that it's there, or the inside of the back cover. It's always in the same place. It's always the same place month after month. But yeah, that's it. And pictures. You mentioned pictures. Digital as attachments, not embedded photos. And camera photos do not work. They do not have enough resolution that they bleed out.
Camera photos? No, what?
Cell
Phone
phone.
camera.
Cell phone.
Cell phone cameras. Did I say camera?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Cell phone cameras. Well, they don't have enough resolution. I suspect in 2 or 3 years they'll have enough resolution, but right now they don't.
How do they get these to you?
Email.